Okay. I feel better, and I think I understand why I'm so annoyed, and I can't believe I never thought of this, but that just shows who I am as a person. The reason I'm so fucking frustrated with some of these are you have to. You're not given the option to skip these conversations, these dialogues. You have to. No way around it. No excuses, no ifs, buts about it. You have to. Don't get a choice. Don't get an option. You don't get to roll a d20 to bluff your way through it. No. You have to. Deal with conversations you don't care about. When Ibsen starts going, I want to researching black holes, you can't say, listen, I'm fine with that. That's cool. Black holes are cool. You know what's also really cool? Shading. And then Lorem starts to talk. You know, you go back to Lorem, because you're here for Lorem. Or, you say, hey, that's cool. Tell me some more. You never get that. A lot of power is taken out of your hands because the conversation forces and wants you to talk about things. And it's weird, because these are, sure, they're mission critical to understanding the world around you. Like, these are things that come up as they are part of the story. The player doesn't have to know this. These are optional dates. They aren't critical to the main storyline. Like, it's fun. It's fine. It's great if you know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Especially since Ibsen could just be dead wrong, you know? Oh. This might need a rewrite, because that's a bit clumsy. Like, the thing that bothers me is, like, sure, I'd have to translate more. I'd have to translate 2 entire dialogue trees. But the benefit is, I don't have to sit here knowing you have to do this entire conversation that I don't give a shit about. I'll be here like, some people like this conversation. Some people are going to look at this conversation and go, man, that was a great conversation. I love that I said to Ibsen, let's go have this conversation. Let's have some great old fancy times. And I'll be like, great, I'm helping those people out. I couldn't give a crap myself. But thumbs up, you got what you wanted. I get to translate this other bit of dialogue that I like. Because it's with Lorem. It's what I came for. But you don't get that. You don't get that power. You are stripped of your power as a person to direct a conversation or have a conversation. You are forced to listen and participate in the conversation as it is. A way you can avoid this is very simple. One, you can add more entropy. You can have more moments, or just small moments, that bring up prior conversations. Like, you have this conversation with Ibsen, later he brings up, hey, remember we talked about shading? I bought a book on that. I thought maybe you want that book. And if you talked about Ibsen, he's like, listen, Ibsen didn't shut up. Like, fuck you. You made him talk too much. And what you can also do, not make it relevant. Just not make it relevant. Just later down the line, never brings it up. Not preferable. Most people are like, God damn, why didn't you bring it up? I wanted him to bring up the fact that I talked about the shading. Doesn't matter. If you want to avoid it, just avoid it. You can handle it. You are not forced to explain your world. You're not forced to explain how wormholes work and how time travel works. In fact, don't. I've already mentioned this. Do not explain time travel. Like, it doesn't matter how far in you are. Your time travel rules are going to be dumb. And they're going to be stupid, and they're going to make people feel like idiots. Or they're going to think you're an idiot. You know? Like, you can't win. You can't win. The funny thing is, it mentions our universe might be shaped like a torus. He doesn't mention that he means like a multi-dimensional torus. The weird thing is, there's so many of these options where it's just like 1 or 2 lines. It's just kind of... And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, wormholes aren't teleportation. A wormhole is just a shortcut. Teleportation is zip, zip. You don't traverse any distance. You just appear and disappear. A wormhole is You can take the big route. You can take the highway, or you can take this little dirt road. You take less space. You still travel. You still expend energy traveling. It's just that the travel route you take is different and arrives at different speeds and different spaces. Why do they... Like, of all the things they explained that he picks up some paper and started marking it. Yeah. Also, that's probably expensive drawing paper, so fuck you, Ipsum. You just stole very expensive paper. Just take some fucking scrap paper. Or scratch paper, as it seems to be called sometimes. Man, I feel really good right now. Like he doesn't mention on the other side of the world, which would be a great way to say it. Like, you work on the other side of the world? Why the hell did you take that job? So this is funny. It mentions here the edge. Here it mentions the right edge. It's never specified he draws on the left edge. Here's my middle finger, which is primarily there because there's no orient. Like, this is why you need to explain more stuff, you know? Like, mentions he... I can't take this. I had good D&D today, and a very good recording sessions with Doom, but I just can't take this. Actually, I'm feeling great. I'm just whining, because I can whine. It's great. I'm gonna specify this. Actually, the one I usually see with wormholes is you make a hole in a piece of paper or something like that. Wait, if the wormholes don't move, do they, what is their relative requirement? Because if you build a portal on Earth and you capture a wormhole, then by definition you're... Okay, am I just talking very loudly, or is the fucking thing exploding? Maybe it's the pop. Might be the pops. I've actually listened to my voice, and the pops are pretty bad. Sorry about that. I don't have professional equipment, and I don't have enough money to buy professional equipment. So we're kind of on the sad end of things. Sorry. Maybe once I get a job, or YouTube decides to pay out big time, I'll probably put down some money for a pop filter. Pippity pop. I'll look into some fancy tutorials on how to get audio. Or someone can help me with that, like an improv pop filter. Until then, I'm gonna pop. Also, Como got a computer. We might be able to record some Dead Space 3 soon, which would be great, because recording 3 hours every week, god damn it. Fuckity fuck. That's gonna be great. Ugh. At least I'm not complaining about this, but god damn it. The thought alone is like, oh, I'm already spending more than 3 hours on D&D. I have to do D&D. I have to, oh man. And I can't do any of this in the weekdays, and that's the part that gets me. My room is hot. Ah, I'm hot. So here's the problem I have with this. This implies that wormholes are interconnected with wormholes, because else you couldn't loop in both directions. But why couldn't you think it's a sphere? Because it works the same with a sphere. Like, what part does it stop working as a sphere? Like, why does there need to be a hole? Like, you can't say to Anna, I don't want to listen to your ex, and just move on. Like, the thing is, there's a large part in social dynamics called, I don't want to talk about this stupid, shitty subject of yours. Like, it's something that I think Yahtzee mentioned about Mass Effect. People talk very straightforward and linearly about what they're talking about, but they never diverge. They're not like, we need to do something about their phantom disruptors. By the way, I recently read something on phantom disruptors. Really interesting. So the way phantom disruptors work is they use Mass Effect to create this massive black hole, and then they shoot through it, and it causes the bullet to disperse into a million dimensions, and it collapses, and BAM! Hits you really hard. You don't care about that. What you care about is the next part of the phantom disruption conversation, which is, to stop a phantom disruptor, you need some sort of Mass Effect destabilizer. You want them to get to that point. You're like, how do we stop it? And they're like, but listen, this is really good. The social dynamics is refocusing the conversation, but not being too crass, because they're like, oh god, you're just business. Talk some fun for once. Like, that's good social dynamics. Not, oh, you're a fucking idiot. And the other option is, you're so goddamn great. Like, that's not talking to people. Talking to people is paying attention to subtle social nuances and worming your way through. It's not being an ass or not being an ass. It's being sensitive enough that they like you and think, oh, you're great. And getting what you want out of the conversation, which might be what they want. But if you're that selfless, then you usually come across as a mop. And that's not good. People don't like mops. They're like, oh, great, he's a mop, but I'm not going to marry someone who's not going to take care of anything. You know, like that kind of stuff. And that's something a lot of these sort of tend to get wrong. It's not remembering what they want and doing what people want. It's handling the situation properly. And that's hard. That's really hard. To the point that I can't give you any further tips. Because fuck it if I know social dynamics. Yeah, but then one wormhole would kind of destroy everything already, wouldn't it? Like... like, that calls into question a lot as to how... The problem with this is, how do we know that wormholes are required and that removing them doesn't actually make things better. Imagine you remove wormholes and suddenly space is infinitely smaller, but it doesn't affect anything. Everything still works the exact same way, but you can now walk anywhere you want in a second. You can just walk straight through walls, or something like that. Like, it's not the universe ends, it's just things are more convenient now. You'd be like, oh, guess destroying the wormholes was a great thing after all. Like, it's such a weird assumption that it's bad. Like, sure, you want to be careful, but why would your theory automatically assume it's a bad thing instead of a good thing? Like, maybe the wormholes are the reason everything is fucked up. Like, maybe wormholes are the reason that we have dark matter. Dark matter and dark energy exists because of wormholes. Wormholes are causing the discrepancies that require dark matter and dark energy to exist. They aren't there, really. It's just wormholes. You know? Like, maybe we don't need them. Maybe getting rid of them is better. Who knows? Maybe wormholes are keeping us from dimensional travel. And that's all they do. They don't actually do anything. They just close doors. They don't open them. Like, sure, maybe there's something bad behind the door, but from a pure natural physics perspective, there's nothing wrong with that. The problem with this is, I already mentioned glue. Like, this is such an assumption, as I said. Why would Ipsum, a scientist, assume by definition that A, his theory is correct, and B, his theory is indicative of something good instead of something bad? If I discover nuclear power, I'm probably going to assume there might be something bad you can do with nuclear power as much as something you can do good with it. Like, god fucking damn it, Ipsum, have some humility. I need to take off my shirt, because it is way too hot. That's better. This is kind of interesting. It's like if they weren't there, everything would collapse, because it's kind of hard to translate the overall construct. Because, god damn it, Ipsum, please stop talking like a jackass, because you're a jackass, please. And like, what everything? It's like space-time, the universe, everything. It's got to be more of a snaz to it. And it just doesn't translate well, the term construct. God damn it, who uses the term construct? What the hell's your problem? The only time you can use construct is referring to a thing that is like a golem. Oh, great. It also translates it as a verb, not as a noun. The problem is, why is that a bad thing? Because one, wouldn't other wormholes flow to fill the gap? And two, it's only one wormhole. And that's not a problem. If you pull one nail out of a building, and you keep pulling it back in and out, that doesn't cause the building to collapse. The building is just there. And someone can take like, and maybe they switch nails, they switch places. That doesn't make the building collapse. They're just two nails swapping places. You're making it out to be like you're just destroying the wormhole in the process. Like, that's not how it works, or how it probably works. Because we're talking about high-level quantum mechanics and physics and weird meta stuff that's just woo. Not to mention it's a theory, which means you are literally building on a theory that hasn't been proven, meaning everything you're making up is bullshit. Depending on what kind of theory it is. He says it's a theory might be true, which means it's the theory kind of theory, not the we've proven this kind of theory, like the theory of evolution, which, by the way, a lot of evidence for evolution. And if short-term evolution is possible, why isn't long-term evolution possible? That's kind of like saying, I can cut my hair, but if I I can cut my hair and it's shorter now, but I can't shave my hair and I have no hair now, you know? It's like you can take things to extremes and go further. Like if I cut my hair once, it's shorter, but if I cut my hair every day, naturally I'll still have the same amount of hair, you know, like that. Like you can't take things to extreme until it's unrecognizable. That kind of stuff. Like, heck, people have been doing that with flies for centuries. God damn it. At least for a while, these decades. Fly centuries. For flies, it's been centuries. Also, why is Ipsum saying this? Because it quite literally makes you feel guilty about trying to save the world. It's like walking up to Superman and saying, every time you use your heat vision, you are literally warming up the Earth. Sure, you're shooting down a guy who's trying to use a nuclear warhead, but you're still warming up the Earth. Like, you're better off walking up to a paladin and saying, sure, you'll stop all those bandits, but one of the people you'll save is gonna be a vampire one day. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, fuck off. You're making the situation needlessly complicated. On the other hand, it's that kind of thinking that gets things like global warming happening. Because people like, Jesus Christ, you're making things so complicated. The irony, of course, being is that I fucking love how Trump is like the fucking idiot of the world. Like, say what you want, but America's now one of the few countries to not be in it, and I know the Paris Accord is like very weak. It's barely anything. And stepping out is the pettiest thing you can do, especially since apparently green power is a great source of jobs. So it's ironic that he's not just... At this point, the Republicans are looking more like they just want to destroy the world, because as things move along, the green eco option is just becoming the better option. There's more jobs in it, there's more work in it, there's more everything in it, and they're still like, no. It's like, why? Because it's cheaper to... At some point, the logic falls apart, and then it's just like, the only reason you did this is to be an ass. Great. You'll be remembered as the people who quite literally had a platform that ran on being an ass. Congratulations. Everyone who voted for you is going to feel like an idiot. I mean, that's an extreme case scenario. But they can always just pray to God that more oil shows up. God, please send some barrels of oil. And nothing shows up, and everyone's like, welp. Exhausted all my supplies in that one. I need to stop. I'm getting too political. That's bad. I like how Lorem takes this long to cut off the conversation, which again is something you should be able to say earlier. Like you earlier say, listen, I don't want to talk about this. This is making me sad, or I don't care about this, or maths is stupid. Something like that. Okay, maybe you'll incur a mood bonus. Like you can skip it and you incur a mood bonus. I should not have to listen to a completely irrelevant conversation because you don't want to build a way around it. I know that's more to maintain. I know that's more to consider. But if you want to make one of these good, you're going to have to do a lot of beta testing. You're going to have to keep track of a lot of things. That's occupation hazard. That's just part of it. You can't write a time travel story without having to consider time travel. You can't write an elaborate script of character interaction without considering the entropy and chaos that comes with character interaction. You can't just sidestep it and still pretend it's a good product. And still be like, this is great. No, you've written something that isn't what exactly it should be or what you want it to be. It's like you're lying to yourself. You wanted to paint cubistic, but because you didn't have a ruler, you just drew some circles. Sure, it looks similar, but you're lying to yourself about it too. Lies. It's all lies! That being said, it's implied the portal... It's implied the portal is being used infinitely many times. Considering time travel exists in the same space-time continuum, the portal has been used infinitely many times. Secondly, it's been used a lot of times to communicate between Reza and Earth, considering he buys a lot of, like, fucking lemons, and the prior communications as well. So say what you want, space-time is already fucked. Your theory is wrong because it's already lost. This could be a setup for a sequel where, okay, we're past the point where the space-time got screwed with, now the consequences are taking place. You know, that kind of stuff. That'd be a cool sequel, where the timelines are just fucked, and everyone's like, oh, I remember that date, and they're like, you never went on that date, you went with me on that date. Like, that's great. That'd be great. Because then everyone remembers things and you remember none of it. You exist in a timeline where, maybe, like, you exist in the neutral timeline. You didn't meet up with anyone, because you were like, I'll just do my job. And then, you don't recall anyone. You recall surface observations. Like, maybe someone else. Maybe it wasn't even Bryce. And all the timelines are overlapping because all the wormholes are screwed up. And everyone's like, but I remember you, and we married, and you were there on my deathbed, and that kind of stuff. And that'd be great. That'd be a great way to do time travel, because it's a clusterfuck, and you know it right out of the gate. You're like, time travel's fucked up? Ain't it just a hoot and a half? That's actually a fantastic idea for a story, where everything's just screwed up because of a prior game. Like, if you play the game, you'll remember everything, but you're so in an awkward position. And there'd be options for people that played it that are kind of hidden away, in a sense. Like, specific interactions. They'll be like, oh, you did that before. Or like, oh, you remember? It's like, no. Like, that's a good amnesia story, because it's not amnesia. It's just that you are not from that timeline, and they are not supposed to be in yours. That kind of cool stuff. You can do cool stuff with that. This game does none of that. It just does a couple of half-assed... Why does he say humanity? Why does he say humanity in particular? Is Dragonkind already preparing for the eventuality that the time-space barrier is breaking down? Cause if that's the case, kinda surprised it doesn't come up sooner. Kinda surprised Lorem wasn't like, listen, we can't send you back not just because of power requirements, but also because of the fact you might break the time-space barrier. Didn't come up. In fact, you're the first person to bring it up, and you are not even remotely involved with any of the activities taking place. Just saying, Ipsum. I know this is overstating my bounds. This is way outside what I should do. But fuck you if I'm going to include that sentence as is. I translated it to, I hope that the governments, ours and that of humanity, are aware of the possibility. What he is saying is, I can't prove this, but I hope that both sides are at least aware and keep it in mind. You know, like just a very low-key approach to the situation. I scream a lot. I need to stop that. Next point on the list, after ancient Chinese secrets, not shout as much. Wait, oh my god, like what kind of clusterfuck of a conversation is this? If this is a serious concern, please sign it up with your local government. Like, tell Emera or something. Don't come to me. Don't use this random date as the opportunity to warn us about the impending end of the world. God damn it, Ipsum. You've got some shit timing. Like, this is like it's trying to make its own Paris Accord. The Dragonland Accord. Oh, I hate this. I hate how everything is falling apart. I want to just make a mod that just fixes these problems, lets you skip conversations, features better interactions. But then the risk is that I'll have to A, work very hard on something I don't get paid for, which I do not have the energy for. I've got enough on my plate as is to worry about that kind of stuff. But second, no one would appreciate it. And while I'm not an ego tripper, it's not for myself because I won't be able to enjoy it. If I want to enjoy it on my own, I would just write it out and I wouldn't make a mod and I wouldn't put the effort in. You know? Not to mention, I might even need new assets. No, if you're smart, you can just stick with the assets you have. That's how smart people do it. It's usually contrived and kind of stupid, but fuck, you can do good stuff with that. What the fuck do you mean you're researchers? Like, the way he presents it is, this is a theory. But the way he's presenting it now is, this is something our researchers... Like, how the fuck would you know? How the hell can you measure space-time continuum and come to an accurate conclusion regarding the damage done to the barrier as a result of portal use? Have you been keeping track of this shit beforehand? Well, literally, before you even turned it on, if you made measurements, somehow, and been able to keep track, somehow, and now you're able to extrapolate the results of the consequence thereof, somehow. That's a lot of stretches, and I don't see any reason they should be right, or true, or any way factual. Like, I don't want to translate this. I literally do not, because this is the stupidest shit. I am just exploding at this line. This has never happened before. Even before, when I'm like, I don't like this. Like, I don't think this is great. I've always sat there and I've been like, I don't think this is great. I think this is stupid. Turn off the fucking music. I'm done with this music. This music is just making me talk louder. Every time before, I look at this kind of stuff and I'm like, this isn't great. This could be done better. Or this could be like this or that. Here, it's so dumb. And it's so stupid. And it should not be done like this. If this is a serious concern, why the fuck wasn't it Reza who took care of the agreement? if there were major concerns on multiple portal uses, why send someone back instead of having Reza oversee the agreement and arrangements? I came to deliver the PDAs, but I don't have to come over. If I'm not coming over, like, God, it hurts. It just hurts. Like, it now hurts. It just hurts. I can't take this. My fucking God. This is the dumbest shit ever. Is this even established as, like, the truth? Yeah, it's just a theory. Like, the way it presents it is, it's just an idea they've been having. It's nothing they've been able to concretely prove or show. It's just like, we have a theory. Listen, if I walk up to the U-fucking-N, and I say, I have a theory that eating breadcrumbs is slowly but surely eroding the natural forests, because without breadcrumbs falling on the floor, the trees can't grow. Fuck me if anyone's going to take me seriously. Humanity is not going to give up this fantastic opportunity, and neither are you. Like, there's good opportunities in this. You bet your goddamn ass none of the businesses are going to be like, listen, we're going to follow you right there because we're going to miss out. No. No. This is not going to happen, Ipsum, until you got some proof. How are you going to prove? Like, how do they prove this? Like, space-time continually breaking down requires you to know what is breaking down. Is time slowing down, speeding up? Are certain dimensions overlapping? Are stars interlinking? Like, what's exactly happening? Why is that a problem to us? And how can we stop it or fix it? Like, is it better to make a continuous opening? If a continuous opening would have been a better idea, why not? Like, not to mention the fact, this is all stuff humanity already knows, and should already have information on, since they have PDAs containing that information. Like, I just want to, no. I just, no. No. And then he mentions this. God fucking damn it. I'm going to translate this differently, because I will not stand for this. I never thought I'd be this translator who'd be like, this is stupid. This is so fucking stupid that I just will not allow this to stay. Never thought I'd be here. Never thought I'd be this guy. But I can't. There's a part inside of me that is so angry, so hell-bent, that if I do this, I'll go to bed tonight, and I will scream until I fix it. This is why you always want a second guy on the team, because he can do it, and I can close my eyes. I'm going to do this a little bit different. I know a way to do this without it sounding stupid. If you're clever, you know what this says. You guys think up really fascinating theories. Basically, it's a middle finger to the idea that they are concretely knowing what they're doing, and instead establishes this idea of, this is just theories. Oh, God fucking... I like how this is the goddamn phone message again. No. The way this comes... The way this unravels, essentially, is... What it says now is, you really think of some cool things. It doesn't claim it's right. Like, the player is like, oh, they're probably right. No. Theorizing and imagining and forming hypotheses, not the same as researchers doing research and knowing what they're doing. A researcher does research, does not form hypotheses. Certainly part of it. But a researcher that makes good hypotheses is not necessarily a good researcher and doesn't necessarily know what he's doing. As a researcher, as in a person who's published a research paper, fuck you. That feels so good to be able to say that I've actually published a paper. Sort of. But I've done research. Stringent ones. And I'm going to say no. No. Until you prove anything. That hypothesis is stupid. And there's nothing you can do to change my mind until you can at least prove that something's happening. Like a tiny disturbance that you can say, like, oh, well, with a 95% we're certain this is right. Although with the portal, you'd have to probably go 99. Like 95%, sure, that's a 1 in 20 chance. That's a D20. But I'm going to need a D100 on that one, boy. I'm going to need some pretty good certainty that it's the portal causing it, and not just random space-time disturbances as a result of Earth traveling through space-time. Because Earth goes through space-time pretty damn fast, so it's incredibly likely you'll get inconsistent results that give the idea, and that's why you do a lot of measurements, is because that way you can exchange, Did you know that at certain points in Earth's orbit, you have a faster relative speed than other points because it's the way you're spinning according to the center of the universe, which can have impact on all kinds of fucking things? God damn it. And God, I love, by the way, the part I'm most angry at. It's not Lorem and Ipsum being boring sods. It's the fact that all of this is so pretentious, and it's so awful as a result. I love this. This is the best moment of this entire freaking video. I already forgot if I had a title in my mind or not. Exciting. The problem is, the PDAs aren't going to propel knowledge. The dragons, like, either they have technology, like, they can't. They cannot have technologically advanced. Here's why. If Azumi, like, there's 2 points where Azumi exists. Azumi exists at the beginning of Dragonkind and at this point in Dragonkind. Maybe a little earlier, but that doesn't make any sense because they clearly forgot about humans. Meaning Azumi gave them technology at the beginning. The tech she gave them, pretty freaking advanced. Endless supply of power, effectively. So I want you to answer me this. Just a tiny little, So in those thousands of years, dragons have not invented a cure for cancer. They've stood in the way of genetic research. They've abandoned space travel, abandoned warfare. They've abandoned seafarer development. They've not invented cars. They don't use cars, despite having infinite energy source. There's no trains, no transit between bigger cities. It's almost like dragons don't care about inventing things. It's almost like dragons are traditionalist, conservative, as they're genetically made to do. You know, it's almost like they don't care about the knowledge, and giving them all the information in the world, it's not going to do anything. All the innovation you're going to fucking get, Ipsum, is going to come from humans, because humans are inventing things, and you are relying on your natural abilities and the knowledge you already have. A species does not scientifically progress unless it has the desire, the motivation, and the means to advance. Humanity has the desire and the motivation. You do not. The means, yes, but you have the means for thousands of years, and you have still not done anything with it. In fact, a lot of your stuff seems kind of primitive in places. No, Ipsum. The most you have is floating balls, which, fun fact, we're probably going to beat you. Especially since that's probably one of the things that's in the game anyway. Like, it's implied that Ixoman sphere is a new thing, but that doesn't make any sense. If dragons don't innovate to the point that computers are now commonplace, then what the hell is their motivation to progress? If they don't need or want anything, why is anyone inventing anything? Why do they care about knowledge? They don't have the scientific curiosity because they're not developing anything. There's clearly no giant need for archaeology, so why would they care about information? Maybe, like, historically speaking, like, oh, I wonder, like, the best I can think of is they want to know what humans are. Like, they're curious about humans and humankind, like, the mythical gods they're interested in. But other than that, dragons wouldn't give a shit about that. They'd just be, we'll see if I care. I got my TV, I got my television, I got my food, I don't care. They're simple creatures with simple needs. They wouldn't give a shit. These are problems. Or maybe, just maybe, this is a shittily written story that could have used a couple of lore-based passes. Wah, 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 wah. I'm starting to hate this game. I hate it. Like, the best I can imagine is you get experiments out of, like, peer review, like trying to verify the information or something like that. Like, again, Izumi comes from a very similar time period to humanity before then. How do the PDAs contain any information that they do not already have to some extent? Like, maybe Izumi had limited, but that doesn't explain anything, considering that a lot of things they have are built for humans, meaning they had it before. Like, there's a disconnect. There's a logical disconnect here that, again, Ipsum doesn't fit. Lorem doesn't fit. Their motivations, their characters, the things they talk about do not fit. They are jagged pieces in a round hole, and it's like, it's gotta fit, because someone paid to fit it in there. The snip end to me implies that this is a part that he got to write, in which case, fucking moron, Goldkin. And I love doing that, because it's my, I just don't, I can't. We're almost there, though. Like 100 lines. Also, we're having this conversation while I'm modeling for a freaking reference photo. Like, all this kind of stuff would probably distract me from my posture. Like, why hasn't Lorem been like, the thing is, Lorem fades out of view as well. Like, from a pure writing perspective, Lorem vanishes from the view. Your talking, your actions, your motions, none of that seems to bother Lorem. Again, if this is an action, at some point Lorem should be like, hey, listen, please focus on your posture. Like, don't talk too much, don't talk too loud. Like, this is new. Why are they called colonies, though? I wonder if they deleted the parts on contemporary history, like the solar flare, if they added that stuff, if they actually kept record, and if they removed that from these particular PDAs. The thing is, Lorem is saying it's very exciting that Lorem is essentially saying it's really exciting that people got killed and there's a diplomatic disaster happening. Man, Really is exciting that Donald Trump got assassinated by a Chinese ambassador, huh? It's really exciting. It's super cool, ain't it? Fucking American deaths, great, great stuff, ain't it? Lorem, you might wanna say it a little different. I like how Ipsum cares about this all of a sudden. The funny thing about Dutch is, a lot of times the C is a K, like in complete. Some people insist on using a K, like a big K, instead of a C. I think it's also that with things like contract. I don't know why. Let's see what Warden has to say about it. Yeah. See, this is kind of especially because this is the technically correct one. I like this one. Ipsum looked closer. His eye shot between me and the drawing, comparing the reality to the result. It's real nice. That card only takes up a couple of seconds, though. Seconden is another one. I don't know why people do that. Also, a scientist doesn't care about those kinds of things. That's an engineer that would care. Because fun thing, scientists only care about, not so much about scale appropriation, but like fit for purpose. Engineers are about the nitpicky stuff. And architects, you know. People who can't afford to ruin things. So weird that he considers himself a scientist since he, just seems to kind of fuck about. Also, that sharp claw could damage the paper. And that came up last time, and Lorem doesn't care. It's also kind of interesting that Lorem compares this picture now, implying he's been working on the same drawing for a significant amount of time. Not to mention the fact that he's mentioned nothing prior. I know he's busy talking, but why does Lorem say this? When he's the one who fucking drew it and has been looking at it for minutes, if not longer. So the funny thing about right, you have right. Not that you are right, you have right. Gelijk hebben, right having. Correctness having, I should say. Wait a minute. It's implied he uses a pen, but he somehow uses a eraser? Is it one of those cool pencil pens? Those are cool. Also, adjusting for size, unless it's like a finger or like a... Nah, it's not easy to do. Digitally, yeah, but not like this. This could have been a lot less sassier, and I think it fits because they're just arguing and they really seem to be sassy with each other. Less explosions when I'm trying to sleep, and it's a question because it's sassy because that's kind of the context of the situation. Yeah, this is such a weird dynamic. Yeah, we're done. Took a while. Mostly because I got stuck in a rent a couple of times. Ah, my hand. Bleh. Oh, which one was it again? Wasn't it Deirdre or Danae? Yeah, it was this one, Dinircha. There's a funny thing about this is them being impressed on the last date does not in any way, shape, or form influence the next one, which is weird. Like, if Lorem is pushy on this date thing, it'd be more interesting if he shows up and he's like, oh, what about dinner? Like, I really want to give you dinner, you know? Or, like with Remy. When Remy suggests the dinner, that should significantly influence the dinner date. Because he'd be more prepared for it, and he has idea. He will show off a bit more, you know? It doesn't come up much. The more I look at this, the more the entropy is fading away, and everything seems a lot more stiff and stilted. Weird. It's like very similar. It's oddly similar. Wink, a wink, a nudge, a nudge. Yeah, it's like really freaking similar. Huh. Well, that's it. Who's next? Who is next? Since I'm on the bar about past stuff, I think we're gonna do Anna. What is Bryce? Just some random faffing about. Yeah, I'm gonna do Anna. I see myself being most annoyed at that. See you guys next time. I gotta go clean out a washing machine. Is that called a washing machine? It's like where you put the dishes. A dishwasher. That's the term. A dishwasher. It was so obvious. Just like it was so fucking obvious that if the space-time continuum was in any real danger, they probably would have established communications about this prior, and not when someone who's doing a murder investigation is... Just saying.